Hello, how are you doing? So, did you have any question on mine today or?
Well, I think when I came in, you must have been talking about cataracts.
Yes.
And I didn't hear the whole thing, so I'm hoping you're going to repost so that I can go back and listen to it later.
We will post that video, praying and hoping that everything worked out. But the core of it is eye sequence and gallbladder sequence.
Yeah.
But I drew in a lot of other correlations.
Eye and gallbladder. Okay.
Eye and gallbladder. If you have anything you want to ask, just chat in.
Yes, back to the cataracts. How much do you have to do and how often in order to get results?
Yes. Then that could be how long have you had the cataract? How thick and bad is it? How chronic, another way of saying. Do you have any metal on the body? How is your energy functioning in relation? So what I'm really talking about is the variances of why the timing would be different on different people. The timing question is what I get all the time on everything. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be short. What is short? I don't know. Depends on the severity of your cataract. Could be a couple or a few weeks. If you have a very chronic situation, it's bad and things are not all working in your favor and you're not working optimally to get it done, it could be a few months. Does that help?
And then how often do you have to do it? Do you have to do it every day or a couple times a week?
Well, first to clarify, there's not really a have to. It's the more you do it and the more thorough you do it, the faster the results are going to be. If you worked one time a week thoroughly, then it's going to have a rate of recovery that's going to be slow. If you worked every day that same way that you would do that one day thoroughly, then that would obviously be, you would think, 7 times faster. But it may be even faster than that, should be even faster than that. What if you worked twice a day? That would really speed it up. What if you do like some people and sat down and said, enough is enough, and work on this thing perpetually? You know, I think of some really severe chronic things like one I talked about with burns, which we're doing a case study on that now, is the young child, I think was about 4 years old, was in the hospital in an induced coma because of the level of burns. And the first day I went to talk to them, which I think was the second or third day in the hospital, I don't remember. Worked on the child and impressed to the mother and anyone that's going to come in that this child basically needs, like I say many times, TKM ICU, round the clock. Anytime somebody is there, they need to have their hands on palming calves. Simple one-step procedure. I talked to the doctor and nurses, and they said this child is supposed to have grafting surgeries on the fingers the next morning because there's not much there, not a lot of tissue on fingers anyway. So have to do something right away, and that child will be in there for months and months, an undetermined amount of time, although it would definitely be months and months with multiple surgeries, again, undetermined amount of surgeries that it would take. But the family and the mother actually did almost perpetual work except for some sleep, going to the bathroom, getting something to eat. And that child was out of the hospital and only had that one surgery the next day on the fingers, was out of the hospital within 3 weeks and was fine, recovered. There was another man that got burned that went into the burn unit, had a radiator blow up, and his face burned bad on the face and the neck. I've got the pictures. And he went into the ER and they were doing, it was about if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 hours, something like that, that he's getting palming calves. And they were immediately put him on IV pain medication. So that's how severe he was. Or they wouldn't put him on IV pain medication. And then when the doctor finished assessing him, he says, we need to transfer you to the burn unit. And he said, no, I want to take this IV off. I'm not feeling the pain now, and I don't feel like going to the burn center, to make it short. And he said, you're crazy. You got to go to the burn center. I'm looking, this is bad. And he didn't believe that he wouldn't be in pain, but he did comply and disconnected the IV. And even after an hour, he was still not feeling the pain. They were still palming the calves. Now, the problem is they ended up releasing him. He went home and he only worked on himself once a day. And he would have been healed from that level of burn, which is not near as severe, all bandaged up, as that child was in an induced coma. But it took 9 days for him to heal, working once a day. If he'd have been one that had been working with his level of burns round the clock like the other one, I figure probably maybe a little shorter, about 5 days, 4 or 5 days to get it totally redone. And we have a picture of him afterwards, and you see no scarring or anything else. So the principle is the more the better, the longer per step. So if you're doing a sequence and you go through the steps and you do them rapidly, but you do it consecutively, then you repeat the sequence, repeat the sequence, repeat the sequence. That's not going to be near as effective. If you start doing and here's your options. You could do 10 minutes versus 5 minutes. You could do 15. You could maximize in a standard, like we talk about in TKM, 5 to 20 minutes. So you could do 20 minutes per step of the sequence. And when you get to the last step, turn around and go back to the first step and doing 20 minutes per sequence. That's where you're looking at maximum benefit, maximum speed recovery. That's when maybe you could do away with the cataracts. You'll have to do it. I don't have cataracts, so you have to do it and let me know. If you were to do it like that, maybe you could do away with them in a weekend.
That would be nice.
It's a matter of cleaning up the eyes. And when you take the example that I talked about last time, which was we had different examples of how fast that your blood can be produced out of the norm when you're applying TKM. It's actually been measured by doctors by one case that it increased it 15 times the normal production that a human can produce blood. 15 times. So when you're talking about cleaning up and healing something, if you really maximize the TKM, you can really multiply by times, not percentage, the rate of recovery.
Dr. King, when I was struggling to recover from aplastic anemia and I was transfusion dependent, my first TKM session before I came to see you was with one of your students. And she and her friend worked on me for 2 hours. And at that point in time, I was having 1 transfusion per week. And after that 2-hour session, I went 2 weeks without a transfusion. So that was, the increase in production was dramatic. That was 100% in terms of the time.
From just a 2-hour one session,
Right.
It doubled it.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That got my attention. I'm like, well, where is this guy? I think I need to go see him.
It's powerful stuff. I've been saying that for decades, and I still am. And I still get the other side. You're here and you're listening because of a profound thing that happened for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many others, while there's people living right beside you or that you've talked to, I'm sure, and ones that I know and next to us that don't come for their different reasons. Oh, it can't be. Oh, I don't believe it. Or, I'm a Christian, but they'll say, oh, it's against my belief as a Christian, because they're confused. Or it's non-scientific and it is scientific. Or it's non-medical and it has been proven medically. So they're just not getting it for whatever reason. Sad.
It is.
I'll take it off my back and say, all in God's timing.
Right.
That where we're getting to now, and hopefully within the next couple of months, maybe a few months, to where we're going to have more available, more science, more physics, more peer-reviewed articles, more advantages for everybody all the way down the line, no matter what their perspectives are, their understanding, that anybody can avail themselves to.
No one told me that when you're given massive amounts of steroids, you get cataracts. That's one of the side effects of steroids.
Along with many others.
So, yeah, along with many others. So that's why I now have cataracts.
Now you know what to do about it.
Yes, I do. Thank you. It's not possible to do the eye sequence on yourself, is it? Is there a self-help eye sequence?
Well, let's take a look.
Well, the one that you just showed us with the 4 and the 20-21-20, would that be considered the self-help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't be considered a self-help sequence. It would be a self-help application. And that is in relation to this sequence. Because, you can't touch the 10.
Right.
You could do a variation of the high 19, but you're talking about left to left. And you can't do your same side high 19. So
Yeah.
you'd be able to duplicate this sequence for self-help, or even have a simple direct substitution. But, you could do that part that I showed, repeating that, and you could do the part of the sequence that you can reach, skipping the others and filling in the gaps with the other applications that you can do.
Yeah.
You can do gallbladder sequence on yourself.
Yeah.
You can work on 4s, quick steps, anchor steps, and the steps that you can apply. Very
Thanks for
important.
the encouragement.
Yes,
And gallbladder could be done self-help.
absolutely. And just another point, the 24-26 sequence, which is basically holding 24 and opposite 26, and then you rotate, and then you rotate. You do 3 times. So here's a custom one. To help the axilla, because it deals with the opposite eye, and it is third stratum aspect of this, if you wanted to add in another quick step, instead of holding 26, you could hold in the center of the armpit with the opposite 24 for that area. But then again, you could do this. I'm giving different options here. You could do the same thing like you do with the 4, because the 4 deals with the opposite eye, and so does the axilla deal with the opposite eye. So you could additional times, like, when you're sitting in church or when you're sitting in a dinner table, you could hold the armpit and and go back and forth. And then you can watch the expressions of the people around you. That could be a benefit for everybody.
Okay, so what you were just talking about. So if you did, if you have cataract in your right eye, then you put your right hand in your left armpit, and then your left hand does which eye, left or right?
If you're working on right eye, it's left pit and right 20, 21, 20, 21.
Okay, so same side.
Yes. So the whole purpose is also to not only get over here, but to get energy to circulate through the eye. That's why you're doing 20, 21, 20, 21, and you're anchoring that with another location that has a direct correlation. So that other location could be the opposite 4, y opposite, because that is a direct correlation, or the opposite armpit, center of the armpit, because that is the direct correlation to opposite eye. You could do other anchors for that. Do you just want to get energy moving? Then hold your 1 and go 20, 21, 20, 21. Are you having any congestion in the neck or other areas? Then you might want to bring it down through and include 22. Or hold 22, same side, and do 20, 21, 20, 21. Because the purpose is to get energy circulation through and to anchor it with things that directly relate or to address obstacles, to resolve those. Are we having fun yet?
This is wonderful. I appreciate this so much.
You are very welcome. I hope everybody is enjoying good health. Always check pulses. Now, this goes beyond the things that I talked about during the lecture of all those correlations. This is kind of in the aspect of obstacles / priorities. Because just like I've taught in the classes, if we don't address the pulses when we have a project, then the body can do what it normally does all the time, which is redirect things to what the body figures as a priority need. If I'm looking at a biological, maybe a response to that is like iodine. Your thyroid needs iodine more than anything else in your body, and it's usually always deficient. So anywhere you put iodine, you can put it on your skin, you can drink some, greatly diluted with water. You can put it on your foot, top of your head, your ear, wherever, and it's going to go into the body and it's going to be taken directly to your thyroid. So you would have to be purposeful to try to redirect it somewhere else, like if you were going to treat some topical cancer or something like that. Although, even doing that, once it was absorbed into the body, it's still going to transfer it to the thyroid. So when you apply help through touch with TKM applications and be getting energy circulation, the body is going to redirect as much of that as it can to what it feels is a priority. So when we address pulses, we address priorities first. It's like I always hopefully help clarify for people that when they think that they get fluff with tone with everything and it's all in balance, it's in sync, it's fluff with tone, everything is ideal in the pulses, that you're done. That's only if that's your goal. But when that's the goal, that means everything else is happy, it's out of the way. And then if you want to work on the project, you can more effectively work on the project at that point than any other time. Because everything is going to be directed and not preoccupied or redirected. It's all going to be directed toward the application that you're doing. And I know the downside. Well, that takes more time. I'm sorry, I didn't design it that way. These are these are observations. I will put it this way: talk to the designer, talk to God. He designed it. We're just discovering what works best, that we can get the most effect for our time and efforts.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking the time.
It is. That is the biggest obstacle. I mean, goodness gracious, if I could put TKM in a pill, it'd be all over the world now.
Oh, yes. Instant gratification.
Yes, that would be great, but just not reality. So I love these. I love these interactions and questions, and I don't want to hold you up anymore today, but I really, really look forward. The thing is, we're going to have a little extra break between this one and the next one because we're missing next Friday. So just remember that they're every first and third Friday, and we're going to go straight into the Zoom. So if you ever have anything specific, please let us know, and we will diligently be taking it to the Lord because He answers. I am a walking example of God's miraculous intervention, healing, His grace and mercy. So let us know any way we can be of help. at any time for prayers or anything else. Until then, God bless you. Have a great, wonderful weekend with this fall weather, and we'll see you next time.